Hey, it's Jane. Thanks so much for joining me for this video, in which I'm going to do a reading for the next full moon, which will be Saturday, August 9th, 2025. So remember last month I talked about how the energy of the full moon is one of releasing. We release things or attitudes that no longer serve us, whether it's an emotion or a thinking process or even a relationship. We just let it go because the end of the cycle means we should release everything that happened and start afresh. Well, first, I'd like to talk a little bit about the humble dandelion. You see the flowers behind me. I'm a master gardener. And everything, every living thing has an energy. People have an energy. We often call that the aura. Animals have an energy, and flowers have an energy too. In fact, dandelions, my colleague who's a beekeeper taught me that dandelions are the first food for bees in the springtime. And their color is yellow. And yellow and gold are the colors of Archangel Uriel. And Uriel helps bring epiphanies and great new ideas to us. So, isn't that a wonderful thing to think about at the end of a cycle when we're getting ready to restart? The other thing I wanted to show you that I think is really handy with dandelions is that they let me hold this still, very easily release their seeds, right? So in this full moon, let's think of ourselves as the dandelion, just letting go of those seeds and letting all those things that no longer serve us just float away into the ether, and we're free of them. Isn't that a great thought? So for this reading, what I did was I pulled a card for the full moon that day itself for Saturday, August 9th. But because the full moon energy is said to be active for 3 days, the day before, the day of the full moon, and the day after, I pulled cards for the weekend because those 3 days perfectly align with Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? How cool is that? So let's look at these cards. For the full moon itself, for Saturday, August 9th, and for the whole full moon energy, I pulled the Nine of Earth. And the nine, of course, is the end of a cycle, a new beginning, but it's also in numerology, it's a number of selflessness, meaning we are being a little too selfless in what we've done. So the Nine of Earth is all about hard work that we've completed. And now it's time to rest and to enjoy the fruits of our labors, right? And so what we need to do is release a little bit of that selflessness in the full moon. I'll get back to that in a minute. I then pulled cards for the weekend. Let me get them in order here. Okay. So for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, for the whole energy of the full moon that weekend, we have the Queen of Water. And water is the suit of emotions. So there's been a lot of emotional stuff going on coming into this full moon, right? And this card normally says, um, we're 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 taking care of others. And so what is the most important thing to release in this full moon? That selflessness and that need to care for others, because we need to do a little more self-care now. So release that, maybe in my case, obsession with helping others, and at least for this weekend, focus on some self-care. And see how she's at the beach. And so that's kind of a nice thing to do here in the US and in the Northeast, to head to the beach. The second card I pulled for what is most important to release is the Seven of Water, another emotion card. So the hard work we were doing, I know for myself this is absolutely true. And so many times the reading is for the reader as well as for the clients. Um, there's been a lot of emotional work being done, a lot of hard work. And this card says, now it's time to stop over analyzing our choices, to stop even really thinking about our choices. We're too embedded in these emotions. The emotions are too high in these choices. And so we need to release these. So we need to release this idea of we've got to decide, we've got to figure this out, and take a break for the weekend. Do some self-care, take a break. Because, a lot of times when we step back from a problem or from a bunch of decisions we need to make, we find that we can let the dust settle and we realize that maybe the choices aren't that, life or death. Maybe it doesn't so much matter if we go one way or the other. So just for this weekend, just for this upcoming weekend, let those go and give yourself a little vacation and give yourself some self-care. Reap the rewards that you've sown. And maybe even it means give yourself a little pat on the back for having done a good job. So then I asked the angels, what's our first step in releasing? Because a lot of times it's very hard to let go of some of these emotions. And the first step is renewal. Now, this card is associated with Archangel Jeremiel. And Jeremiel is the archangel that is said to greet us when we die. And he helps us with life review so we can understand and learn all the lessons from this lifetime. But while we're still around and alive on this earth, Jeremiel can also help us review situations and help us choose the best path forward. And so this ties in really well with the whole reading in that we want to uh, revel in our successes and reap the rewards of all this hard work that we've been doing, right? We want to let go of some of these heavy duty emotional decisions and emotions that we've been working through. It's been a lot of hard work to sort all that out. And so now let's take a breather and let's see what the next step should be, what our next journey is as we come out of this old lunar cycle and come into a new one. The last card I pulled was the Nine of Water, again, an emotion card. Now, typically, and there's our nine again for the end of a cycle, right? But typically, this card is about wishes coming true. And so, how does that tie in with all the rest? Well, because it's also a card about having fun and being lighthearted and, letting our inner child come through and just to play. And that is perfect for taking a break and taking a vacation and rewarding yourself. So for this upcoming weekend of the full moon, cut yourself some slack, do a little self-care, play, have fun. And then that way you can sail into the next week kind of rested and grateful and pleased with yourself, confident, right? And sure. Thanks so much for joining me. Please do add me to your summer reading list so you can sign up for reading at janezisk.com. And if you'd enjoyed this video or any of the other videos on my YouTube channel, please do share the link with friends and like and subscribe to this video on my channel. Thanks so much. See you next time. Bye.